What? It's your girl, baby. I'm gonna give us a few seconds, maybe 20 seconds, y'all, for us to go live. And then I must just start. I'm not gonna wait for people to come. I'm just gonna start in like 20 seconds. Give me a second. Okay, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and get this started. I'm gonna say it again. One, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please put in the chat if you can hear me. If you can hear me, please put something in the chat. Damn, what is that? I think that's my earpiece, y'all. Damn. Wait 1 second. I want to know, can y'all hear me? Hello? If you can hear me, just say yes, please. And I'll switch the earpiece. Let's see. Wow. Okay, can you hear me, just me? Wow. If you can hear me, just say yes, just me. Because I put a new earpiece in. I just switched them. I switched my headphones to earpiece. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead on. I'm just hoping everybody can hear me. I don't want to be just talking to myself, y'all. That's why. What I want to say, one, I got this story. It's a quick story, and I don't know. I just feel like shit. I feel like I want to share it with y'all, and I do believe the manosphere has infiltrated more of our homes than we know. A few years ago, right when the pandemic hit, my son was telling me about Tommy and KS, right? And then my daughter, she introduced me to Cynthia G, right? So, um, just a little backstory for people who don't remember or don't know what I've said on YouTube. When I first came to YouTube, it was so much Tommy and Cass, right? And I was actually getting sick to my stomach of them. And I remember telling my kids, I was like, I'm about to reverse this shit. everything they say. I'm just gonna say the opposite. You know what I'm saying? From a woman point of view, and you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like we needed some balance, right? So I was like really in a point in my life I was angry. And I told my husband, I was like, and he would listen to the stuff my son would give us to listen to. And he was like, man, these dudes is crazy. So I was like, I'm sorry, I was gonna be the the Cynthia G, right? Which I'm not. Of course I'm not. But so when I told my daughter about it, I was like, and she was like, no, ma, they already got this lady. So she introduced me to Cynthia G. So I started following her and I'm like, oh, okay. So but it was like I promise you, to Cynthia G is like 100 different men that I started watching that just hate fucking black women. The shit is unreal, right? So, okay, this is a personal story. Um, I don't know how many of y'all know, but I told this story before about I have one son that when he was maybe 13, he started cutting up in school. And by the time he was 15, I started seeing his friends go to prison. And then one day I was drinking coffee, getting ready for work, and I saw one of his friends being arrested for a capital murder. This was a little boy who used to sleep at my home, y'all. From that point on, I took a leave of absence. I actually stopped working for 2 years, maybe three, 2.5 years. And I have said this story plenty of times that trying to keep my son, one of my sons, straight, right? And for him, it has paid off, right? However, for my other kids, my son and my daughter, who was because I had three kids back to back, right? 2, 4, and 6. That's all three. My first oldest kids are 2 years apart. I knew my daughter was struggling, and I knew she had a lot of issues because she started calling me a mule, right? She's like, you do everything for him, right? So she was like, you're a mammy and you're a mule and blah, blah, blah. And I got introduced to Cynthia and Nala, and I see why she called me a mammy and a mule. Okay. Um, and I love her to death. She's so smart. She's smarter than me, y'all. And I see why she says that. What I didn't expect was my oldest son. He started a few months ago. He broke the news that he had a baby, right? Another baby by a different woman, not that a different woman, not his wife, right? So we've all just accepted it and been trying to, be supportive and everything. And so has my daughter. There was a argument about a month ago, and it was all my three oldest kids called us, and I just put them on speakerphone with their dad, so we can all share in this discussion. And my son was upset. He was like, he was really upset that his sister took upon herself to contact this other baby mom to get in contact with her nephew, which is my grandson, which is my other grandson. And because they are so close, my daughter and her big brother are like, oh my God. super close. And I knew from their teenage years, if I get between those two, they turn on me. So even if I feel one is right or wrong, I kind of shut up because I've seen them turn on me, right? And other people because they have this just incredible bond and I love it, right? So I put them on speakerphone and me and my husband we listened to them argue almost for 3 hours one night, right? All three of them. We gave a little input, but we basically hold back. Um, Sunday on Sunday night, I noticed my son, my daughter-in-law, they came to pick up my grandson, the 2-year-old grandson. They came to pick him up. And I felt like I really always feel like that's not always, but the last few months or maybe a year, my oldest son throws shots at me, right? And I try to ignore them. You ever know how somebody take a little shot at you, but you just ignore it, right? So I feel like he's been doing it. And I know he's the one who introduced me to him listening to Kevin Samuels, right? So Sunday he threw some little, you know, fireworks. And I know it's um I don't want to say a jealousy, but okay, so I know I've told you guys that I had a son that when he was 13, he was fighting so much. He was always in trouble in school. Even though he was always making honor roll, he was really fighting a lot. And this was a boy who was so gifted and talented. I'm talking about he passed all the tests, y'all. He was gifted and talented. And just I don't know, he just went to fighting a lot. So I was bringing him to church and that wasn't working. I was bringing him to a therapist that wasn't working. A friend of mine was a Buddhist. She was a Japanese woman. I started bringing him to a Buddhist temple and making all my kids go when they were about 15, right? So anyway, this son has excelled. He um when I think he was 15 or 16, I saw his best friend. I was drinking a cup of coffee, y'all, getting ready for work, ironing some clothes, 5 in the morning, and I saw his best friend who used to sleep at my house being arrested for a capital murder case. Less than a week later, I had done quit my job, everything, y'all, to dedicate time to be with him completely. I think during that time, I lost some of the bond with my other kids. I had a newborn, my son who's 12 now. I had a little baby with me, which he doesn't remember any of this because he was so young. But my son who was right over him and my daughter who was right under him, I noticed that they have a lot of resentment. I've seen it a lot with my daughter, really. But now, since my oldest son has this new baby, I'm starting to see he just keeps throwing shots at me, right? And we're a very close family. And I'm just telling y'all this here because I just want you to know that whether you're a single mother or a married mother, this shit hurts. You know, it can hurt having your children and being blamed for everything. Like I said, I stopped working. I was at the schools. I was at the school. Listen, I was in the high school. My son was cutting school. They were calling my cell phone. I would run to the parking lot and stop myself from getting in the car. Right now, that son is not a kid anymore. He's over 25. He has an excellent career. He has a boxing career. He is a graduate from a major university, you know. So I'm very proud of him. But the sacrifices that I made for the other kids, they never let you forget it. And that's why I'm a mule, y'all, because I will tell you the truth. It is not easy. I had great kids, y'all. My other kids listened to what me and their dad told them to do. They followed instructions. They were very studious in their studies. But I had this one son who wanted to go his own way, who I call it learning from the school of hard knocks. And me as a woman and as a mother, I was desperate not to lose one to the system, right? So, in my fear of losing one to the system, because I was so scared if he ever got a felony, that his life could be ruined. So I was on his butt, right? And so now me and him are the closest. Me and the 25-year-old and the youngest are the closest. I've noticed that it's a rift with the oldest two. And so anyway, let me just I don't know. Let me tell you how the story went. So my daughter found, has been asking questions about my oldest son. He made another baby. That baby is a year. That son is a year. She called my husband, her dad, and he gives her the girl's number, right? I've heard my oldest son keep saying, and mom, you wrong for giving her that girl number, and she don't need to be calling. So my daughter has started spending time with her other nephew. Um, and it's been an issue with her and her brother, right? Because she's gone to see the girl because she lives closer. We all live in different states. Let me just say this because they went off to college. But anyway, by my daughter living closer to this girl, she's been spending a lot of time with my grandson, which I've only met one time, y'all, with my other grandson. So it's been a riff, right? But the shit that's crazy is my son keep blaming me for everything. And so he was like, last night, like, yeah, and mom, you just won't even admit that you wrong. And this was the first time I heard him say, cause you fucking wrong. And I was just like, my eyes got big. And my husband was like, man, what are you talking about? He was like, I gave her the number. And when his dad says, I gave your sister that number, not your mom. You know what my son said? Yeah. He said, first he said, no, mom get because each time he's accused me of giving out this girl's number, I've just never answered, right? But when he said it, my husband, when his dad says, no, what are you talking about? I gave your sister the number because, she's 20 minutes away. We want to be in connection with your other son. My son eventually was like, oh, okay. I really feel like this manosphere shit. And I had to ask my son, when have I ever been against you? When have I ever not been your biggest fucking cheerleader? And he was just quiet. I try not to say nothing, but y'all, that shit really can hurt you. I have only one daughter. The rest of my kids are sons. It's different if your dad does something, but if I would have done it, it was a huge problem. But once you find out it was your dad, and this has happened like 2 or 3 times recently. Each time he finds out it's his dad, it's like, oh, it's nothing now. But if you when you thought it was me, it was a big problem. I just don't know how to take the shit, y'all. I'm getting to the point in my mind, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. If I put in my mind I don't fuck with you, I have a brother, y'all. I don't even speak to my brother. I used to watch him beat up his girlfriend, right? He's remarried, he's doing good, and I don't hear about him beating up his new wife. But I don't fuck with him. If the mule puts it in her mind, I'm so scared of myself that if I say I'm not gonna fuck with you no more, I'm scared that I wouldn't even fool with my son no more. Because he keep on accusing me of things. And then when I keep telling him I didn't do it, but then if you find out your dad did it, it's okay. But it's not, you're not even upset if he did it. But you would have been upset if I did it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just praying on myself. We got this big funeral to go to, y'all, tomorrow for Friday in New Orleans, y'all. So I'm traveling. But I will tell y'all this. I don't know how after this Thanksgiving, because I talked to my son. I said, son, when have I ever not been there for you? You know what he told me? He named his brother. He said, you used to ignore me for him. And I know my daughter told me the same thing a long time ago. He was the one in need. I never, when you have a child who's sick, hurting, or in danger of ruining their fucking life, sometimes you do push the other kids to the side. But I've never not loved all of my kids the same. I never loved one of my kids more than the other. I've never loved one of them more. Even my baby boy, all my kids say he the favorite, right? But he's just the last one. He's 12. I love all of them the same. They always say my 25-year-old was the favorite. No, he just didn't listen. He wouldn't listen. So I was like, he was the one who was more attracted to the streets. And it took everything in me, y'all, not to lose him to the streets. It's never a point where I felt like I loved one more than I never loved one of my kids more than the other one. But I mean, yeah, that shit hurt. And I'm really to the point where my other son just ready to back off. Cause I'm like, you know what? If you think this Manosphere shit, cause he the one introduced me to Kevin Samuels. If you think these people got it right, let's see how much they do for you. Cause I've been there for you your whole life, fighting for you. You upset that I fought for your brother, and you feel like I put the other kids to the side for him. But I would have did the same for you. I would have did the same for any of y'all. This is why I say, man, being a mother ain't no joke. It's not a joke. And you can sacrifice yourself, your other kids, this one trying to keep one kid. Listen, I remember years ago, y'all, my daughter used to have asthma attacks so bad I would be in the hospital all night with her. My dad had to fly in to the state I was living in to be there with my other kids because I was in the hospital constantly with my daughter. It just goes like that. Whoever needs you the most, that's who you there with. It doesn't mean that you don't care about the other ones. But I just want to drop the link because I just want other mothers, if you ever been through that, like sacrificing for one child and then other children making you trying to shit on you, like you wasn't there, like you didn't do your best. We all human, man. And for one of our kids to try to make it seem like we love another child better, nah, it's who need me the most. So I don't know. Let me just speak to everybody in the chat. Let me uh, do a woosah. Wow, what's up, just me? Wow, what's up, Reese? Hey, Mew. Love you, sis. I love you too, girl. I love you, sis. Um, wow, what's up, Tequila? Tequila, yes. Girl, look. What Sharice at? Y'all know what Sharice? Do you know if Bomb got a new channel, Tequila? Cause I'm thinking she got a new channel. Wow, what's up, Big J? What's up, brother from another mother? Cause me and Big J think a lot alike. Y'all just don't know. I'm not as extreme as y'all think I am. Me and Big J think a lot alike. I am big on family, y'all. And I just love my kids. And so let me see. Wow, what's up, Black Dahlia? Black Dahlia says children shouldn't be on any social media. Well, my children look. I'm talking about a 28 and a 25-year-old, and so these ain't really little children, to be honest. But she says children shouldn't be on any social media platforms without adult supervisions. I've been told people that TikTok is the devil, but they didn't listen because they didn't want to entertain their own kids. Yes. Okay, Justin says, hey, Tequila. Um, Black Dahlia says, patriarchy teaches that everything that goes wrong is a woman's fault, no matter who actually did it. Well, this is exactly why I only had one child. My mama treated me and my sister different, and I didn't want to be that kind of mom, even accidentally. Oh, yeah, just Jay was here. I mean, Big J was here. Yeah, you see him. He said, "You, yo, YouTube, especially bad YouTube computer children." So let me just say this here to Black Dahlia. I never wanted to treat any of my kids any different. I'm gonna just say this: at different times in our life, in their childhood, they needed different things, right? So if you have more than one child, if one child is in the hospital, you're in the hospital more, right? You're not at home more. It just goes like that. I've had two children who did two kind of big hospital stints, right? My daughter and my one of my daughters and one of my sons, right? So at those times, it's just who needs mama the most. You're still just one person. At the time when my son, who went through a lot of um mischief, I would say, finding himself. When he was going through a lot of that, I'm gonna be honest. My oldest son threw up the fact that I didn't listen to his dad. My husband was like, at a certain point, he was like, um, after he not listening to us. No matter what we say, he gonna do what he wanna do. So he was like, leave him alone. Let him go. If he go to jail, oh well, we not bailing him out. Now, the mom in me, I was just like, and I wasn't even working then. I was like, oh my son, but I didn't want to hear no excuses about if he go to jail. I just didn't want none of that to happen. And we was able to prevent any of that from happening. Um, it may have aggravated my son. It worked on whatever, but it got him old enough to be wise enough to say all that was stupid. And he's a child with no criminal record. He's graduated college. He has a career, and he has a sporting career in boxing, right? And he's a world champion. So I feel like in my own mind, I did the right thing, right? But I do feel like maybe I let my other kids down. And it wasn't intentional. But how, as a mom, you can keep feeling bad for something that happened so long ago for another child who desperately needed your attention. And then if your dad would have given out this girl phone number, it's just, oh, no big deal. But when you thought it was me, it was because mama, you wrong. And you know you shouldn't have. But it was all kind of extra. Anytime you think and this is not happened once, y'all. This has happened like 4 times. And I keep telling him, even when I say, baby, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. He just keep accusing me until somebody who did it says, no, mom didn't do that. I did that. And then it's just simply, oh. And I think he got this manosphere in his mind. But today I'm really questioning this shit as I'm getting ready for this funeral. Because it's a big funeral I'm going to, y'all. This is like the matriarch of my family. And as I'm preparing myself for this fucking funeral, I'm thinking, am I going to have to lose or let him go? If I let him go, with women is a difference. Especially with the type of person I am, right? I think I'm a different type of person. I know I am, right? Because of my heritage. If I let you go physically is one thing. It's not really that bad. I can get you back. But if I let you go mentally, you can be gone from me forever and still alive. And I'm so scared of myself that I'm coming to a point in my mind is like even a dream I had last night, like let him go. Like this kid is so far against you. Every little thing he keep trying to throw back. And I asked him over and over today and yesterday, is there something you want to tell me? Like, was I not there for you enough? What did and he's like, nah, nah. But why every time you get upset, you throw mama into it? And I don't know if it's this YouTube shit, y'all, this Kevin Samuel shit, but I know he did tell me a long time ago. He was like, you disrespect dad. When dad told you let that Negro go to jail, you said not my son. I did, but that was between me and my husband. That was between me and your dad. That ain't had shit to do with you. What is wrong with these kids or where they think they can come between a husband and a wife freaking conversation? That ain't had shit to do with you. That was between me and him about our son, your brother. Everything he keeps saying, like I disrespected him, his dad. I love my son. But man, me and my husband had great love making. My husband, man, one time we had a great night. My husband was kissing on me saying, thank you for not letting us lose our son. Our son is great. That boy 25 ain't never had a record, ain't never had a traffic ticket. I mean, we went through things with these kids. Nobody is perfect, right? But this shit is crazy when your own children act like you got favorites or I don't know. So I don't know if anybody want to hit the link. Y'all welcome to hit this link. But if you have a story to share about struggling with your own kids, just listen. I'm a human. I'm not perfect. I don't like I said. I was not perfect with my kids, but I love all of them. I didn't love one. Listen, if one of my kids got more attention than the other, they needed the attention. I really, in my life, felt like one was more better than the other. I've never felt that. But if one of my kids needed me, I'm gonna be there for that one who need me. And I don't know, but I will tell y'all this. This is why I say I've been feeling the dangers of the social media is going into real life. It's going into and it's making real men and real young men, boys, question their own freaking mamas and daddies. Who was there for them? So, wow, what's up, Sister Tequila? What's up, girl? I don't know. Have
Hey,
you have you
hey.
heard of anything like this? Was somebody who had their
Um,
own mom and dad and
yes.
keep
So
mm-hmm.
this is what I want to tell you. I want to say this to you, and it's coming from my heart, and I really feel like it's like my intuition and or my spirit or whatever people want to call their the higher being is God, source, whatever. Is leading me to tell you. And honestly, I definitely I truly from the depths of my heart believe that what you're experiencing is something spiritual, and that a lot of mothers experience that with their sons, um and sometimes with their daughters too. I'm not going to say just their sons,
Yeah, but I
with
don't
their daughters
understand this.
too. And
Tequila,
I
if he accused me of doing something, but then you found
mhm.
out your dad did it, it's like, oh, like it's no big deal.
That's why I said with between sons and mothers. And like I said, sometimes daughters and mothers. But it's something going on spiritually that's especially with the sons and the mothers, where these sons are having some sort of anger and disdain for their mothers. Their mothers can fight for them, um put their whole life on the back burner for them, literally just do whatever they can for their child. And their child is still a find fault with their mother for some odd reason. And honestly, what I can say is I don't really like to put my business out there, but I'll share a little bit. With my ex, and his family, I know he loves his mother. I know he does, but he cannot they can't seem to get along. They love each other dearly and they got each other's back. I will say that. But they can't seem to get along. And he does have some sort of, I want to say, sometimes a disdain for her, and that used to bother me even in our relationship when we were together. I would be like, but that's your mom. He was like, I know, but I mean, I feel like she could have made better decisions. She could have did this. She could have did this different. She could have, and and mind you, this man works so much and works so hard. He has no time to be on nobody's YouTube or nothing. So this has nothing to do with YouTube. Or I know I asked him, did he ever hear Kevin Samuels? He said Kevin who? He don't know who none of these YouTube people are. So, but it's in their heads to blame their mothers when I know for a fact that his mother, as much as me and this woman don't really see eye to eye. I know for a fact that she definitely, literally almost laid down her life for him more than once, gave up so many opportunities for herself, for him, just made her whole life about her son. And to this day, he still can say, I know my mom did all of that, but I still feel like she could have did this and she could do this and she should have did that. And I'm like, but your mom is a human, you know? So I think that I really believe it's some kind of spiritual thing going on between some men and their mothers. And I don't know why it's this way, but it is. And honestly, I feel like that's part of maybe some of the demise of our relationship because I think he may have, I don't know. I know he loves me. I know I love him still, but I can say that he has resentment towards me. He feels like there's some choices and some things that I should have done differently earlier on in our relationship. And he still holds that over my head. And it's weird because it's like, well, I mean, I was in my late teen, early 20s when I first met you and when we got together. And I mean, here we are. You're about to be 40 soon, and I'm in my mid 30s. And like, what the hell? Like, why are we, like, why are we rehashing something from a long ass time ago? Like, so, I don't know. He, I don't know. I think he has a disdain for women, and a lot of men do. But I can tell you, he doesn't watch YouTube because he's so focused on money and making money.
Yeah, my son claims because I even asked him, I was like, yeah, are you in a manosphere? He was like, come on, ma, now you insulting me. And then he kept saying I was insulting him. And I'm like, well, baby, when have I not had your back? Even when your wife was threatening to leave you, I
Hmm.
talked to her and I was like, babe, because she was the one said they want to break up when he made this other baby. And I'm like, I was like, well, if you're really serious that you know in your heart y'all were broke up, don't leave your family. I talked her into it, and they are still together, happily married, as far as I know. It's just like every little thing I do is to have his back,
And
and
I was
he
going to
just
say, but he's still
he
going to
just have
find
a
fault.
he have a problem with me.
That's my thing, and that's what I'm trying to say to you. Like, I watched my ex mother have his back to a T. Like, I mean, she got this man's back. Like, oh, but they still bump heads, and he still got an issue with her, and I'm looking like, what the hell?
Wait, hold
So,
on. Because I'm seeing I'm not. She said, yeah. This is one of my old, not my oldest son, my second to oldest son. He's the 28-year-old. Now, I told this story. Okay, I have a 28-year-old, and then I have a 26-year-old, 25-year-old. He about to be 26. But anyway, that was my fighter son, right? I don't know if you remember that tequila, right? I used to tell
hmm,
I started bringing them all to the Buddhist temples to meditate
yeah, I
because
remember
he
that.
he was like, girl, he was fighting so much, and then I started seeing his friends go. I do feel that my older kids feel that I gave him too much attention, I don't know, and maybe I wasn't giving them enough because he was the one always in trouble, and all his friends, girl. And one time, this little boy used to sleep at my house, y'all, for almost 3 years. Like he would come over almost every weekend, and then I'm drinking coffee. He's arrested for a capital murder. And
Hmm.
my son used to like, oh, his mom don't give him a curfew. It was a lot with one. Let me tell you something. You can have all the children you want, raise them in the same family. Sometimes it's gonna just be that one that just don't act like the other ones. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah.
And my sons, my daughters, my one daughter and my other sons all followed the same program, right? They all were great. But I had this one who is great, who is awesome. He just, he did his own thing, and it was a struggle for me. It was a struggle for my husband. And I mean, now he's doing so great, but it feel like the older kids kind of resent us for it. You know what I'm saying? And not really resent us, resent me. Like I gave all him the attention. I did everything for him. I don't know.
Yeah. I think they just don't understand. I mean, because they're still looking at it through a child's eyes, you know. Because sometimes when you're a child, it's going to feel that way. Because I actually had this conversation with my own kids. Because with my oldest, she feels like I favor Nandi, and I'm like, Nia, I don't favor Nandi, but what I will say is, um, you was never the child that stayed up under me. You always wanted to go and do your own thing. Um, and if it was a parent that you wanted to stay up under, it was always your dad. Um, and when I had Nandi, for whatever reason, she wanted to stay up under me. And honestly, Nandi and I have very similar personalities. And
I'm
we
gonna be
like a
honest
lot of
with
we
y'all.
like a lot of the same stuff. And
Listen,
it's
my
not.
25-year-old and
Hmm.
me have the same personality. Me and
Yeah.
him get along so good. And
Hmm.
I think it's because he was just, even though he was like, the bad kid or whatever, I would have to go find him like y'all, like at 3 in the morning, driving around, walking around, looking for him, trying to keep him out of trouble. It was a rough 2 or 3 years.
Hmm.
And like I said, my youngest is 12. I had him on my hip, y'all. I would be pushing a stroller looking for this boy.
Lord.
Um, but I mean, we so far past that now, but it just seems like they throw things up in your face. It's just,
Yeah.
honestly, I was telling my son, my 25, I wouldn't even advise. He said he don't want any kids. He's engaged now. He's getting married in February. My daughter is getting married in July. I'm I'm sad that they both say they don't want any kids, but look, it's not even worth it, because it's nothing you're gonna do that's gonna make them happy. I mean, I was crying earlier to Gila. It's like you try
It's
to do the best you
heartbreaking.
can with these different personalities. Nothing you're gonna do is gonna make each one happy. It really is
Nothing.
not.
You
And
about
I
to make me
mean,
cry, and you know why? And I'm sorry because I feel this for whatever reason. It's really touching me deeply right now because, like I was saying, like I was having this conversation earlier with my kids, and I kept trying to tell my oldest like I adore you, I love you so much. It's just Nadia and I just got a lot in common, and that's it. That's it. It's nothing else but that. And it's not that I don't feel, I don't know, it's not like I like her more or anything. Nothing like that. It's nothing like that, but I don't know, she feels slighted.
yeah, and me and my daughter have gotten into little arguments, and I told y'all, I use it as a joke, but I was really hurt. And, she was telling me I was a mule, and anything the boys want to do, you there for, you the mule for them. Okay, I'll be the mule. I'll be the mule, whatever you want to say I am. Because I mule for her butt. You know what I'm saying? I just wrote a
Hmm.
$2,500 check to her school. My daughter is, graduated from her 4-year bachelor's degree with zero, zero
Hmm.
debt. She owed nothing because me and her dad always wrote those checks. So I don't
That's good.
understand why she always does this shit. And what I will say is, my little girl, my daughter, is like really, she's 23. She's in law school, but she is my BF. I honest to God, I value her opinion because she's so smart, y'all. This girl is super, super smart. She's so smart. She's so intelligent. And I don't know. I guess because I prayed for a girl. But with my oldest son, he was always my heart. He was like my heartbeat. And for me and him to keep on arguing over, we argue over things of the other kids that he never told me when he was a child or a teenager. But now you're a grown up, and it's like I think because he feel like he's messing up in his life, he keep
Hmm.
wanting to blame somebody. And
Maybe he was holding all of that in for all those years.
yeah, maybe. And that is really, something is a possibility. I don't know. But the
Cause
thing
sometimes,
that's pissing me off with him is I keep asking him. I even told him, I said, baby, you want to do family counseling? He was like, Mom, there you go with that shit. Girl, the way he talking to me lately,
that's
he would not
disrespectful.
dare say the stuff in front of his dad. He would not talk to me like, let me just be honest with you. The way my kids, my older sister always told me, stop letting the kids talk to me any kind of way. Because they're not gonna talk to me like that in front of their dad. If my husband was there, they talk to me differently. It's just like when his dad told him, oh no, your sister, your mom didn't give that girl that number. I gave your sister that number. He was like, oh, oh, oh. That was it.
Mhm.
Oh, oh. I'm like, why you don't tell your pa he wrong? Like, I'm like, why you don't say the same, shit to him that you say to me? But they don't do it. They don't.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say like the relationship I had with my 25-year-old. Let me say, he was in the streets, girl. His friends was all going to jail for armed robbery, capital murder. I, you know, I know that I lost time with my other kids trying to track him down and keep him and volunteer. Girl, I stopped working. I'll tell y'all this story. I had to stop working. I was at the school volunteering, and he was outside the school cutting class. And he called me. Listen, this shit happens so much with him, right? To say that he's such a good kid now at 25, you wouldn't believe how he was at 13, 14, 15, 16. You wouldn't. And
Yeah.
my husband really like respect me and love me for that. He's always like, girl, we have had the best sex, everything. Like, you
Mhm.
didn't give up on our son. Like, because at one point, honestly, my husband was like, he just don't want to listen. He want to be in the street, let him go. And I just couldn't do it in my heart. I just couldn't let him go. And I mean, it paid off, but now I'm feeling like today, like at what extent? You know what I'm saying? Because kids who were honest, my daughter, let me tell y'all something. I'm not trying to brag, but this girl was always, she made every President Obama. I got so many certificates, and awards for her. My other son, so many awards. They were just, the cream of the crop, and they did what was
Yeah.
right. And I do feel like them doing what was right didn't really get acknowledged enough.
And it may
Um,
have built resentment for that.
yes. And I have to, be a woman and face that. But they feel like I put the one who wasn't doing right enough. Let me tell you, this boy struggled through junior high and high school, but
Hmm.
blazed through college. Y'all. He finished and got his bachelor's degree in 3 years. you know, I
Wow,
struggled with
that's
him
amazing.
for, yeah, I struggled with him to get him out of junior. This boy wanted to drop out in junior high. He wanted to
Mm.
drop out in junior high, and I struggled with him through junior high and high school. But he blazed through college like a Viking. Seriously. So I mean, these kids, let me tell y'all, I was blessed that I was able to have a husband where I could stop working. But now I still feel like I failed the other kids who were doing right. They didn't do anything wrong. They were doing right the whole time. But now I feel like they didn't get any the attention that they deserved. And it's throwing on me. And I
Have
don't
you apologized to them
girl,
and
I
said
have
I'm sorry?
apologized so many
Mhm.
times. I'm sick of apologizing. I'm
Well,
sick
at
of
this
all of
point,
it.
I think the fact that you acknowledge, you understand where the role that you played in it, because it's not that you did something wrong. It's just that you let a few things slip through the cracks. Like you said, by not acknowledging how well that they were doing and how proud of them that you were. But now that you've done all of that, you gotta let it go for you and put it in God's hands because you're not gonna stress yourself out. No, you're not gonna stress yourself out.
Kelly, you sound like my husband. He like, fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck his ass. You know what I'm saying? We was good parents to that boy. And these kids that ain't grateful, fuck them. But he was like that with all the kids. Like when they go too far, let me tell you,
I
my
mean,
child,
seriously, and it's not that you
he
don't
really
love
loved
them
me.
still. You
Yeah,
love them deeply,
he
but
like fuck them,
it's
fuck
like
them, fuck them.
it's like you no, you are not gonna stress yourself out like this. You
Yeah,
give it to God at this point because you did your part. You acknowledge, okay, I see where I kind of messed up, and I
I did.
didn't and I didn't acknowledge you when you were doing really good in school when you were younger and you were getting all your awards and certificates and doing everything I asked of you, and I didn't give you all the praise and admiration that you deserve. So I am so sorry. I really am sorry, and leave it there because you cannot beat a dead horse. You can't just keep begging for someone to forgive you if they're not going to do it. But you
No.
can't sit there and stress yourself out over it either because you did your best and you did your part. And after that, all you can do is wash your hands. You did
Yeah.
it.
And I brought this subject to YouTube honestly. I didn't want to, but I just wanted to share because I feel like in my heart it's other mothers who go through this shit. You're gonna have
Oh yeah.
other kids who excel without you really, pushing them. But you're gonna have somebody who needs you to be on top of them. And then you might get resentment from the other kids. And like, hey, we did everything right and you didn't love us as much. And it's not that. It's just, you know, let me just say this here honestly. This shit is hard being a mom. A black dog, you said that's why she only had one. A girl, look, if I only had one, I'd probably be okay. But I didn't. My mom died when I was 3, and all I ever wanted to be was a wife and a mother. And I was in junior high, y'all, and the nuns called my daddy in, and we had to have a whole parent conference because that was my goal in life, and they felt like it was unrealistic.
Mhm.
And that's what I am. I'm a wife and a mother. I do have 2 careers that I was in. Um, so I'm not saying that's all I was, but that was my goal. And I think that everybody have a different life, right? I have one sister who I tell y'all about, Tequila, who built a 7-bedroom home, 5 bathrooms, and she has 0 children and 0 husband, right?
Mhm.
So, and she knew from our childhood she never wanted any kids, and she never wanted to be really married. She said if she found a husband, it would be good, but she definitely didn't want any children. So I think in modern day terms, it's so many options for women, right? I just want
Yeah.
women to know when you have multiple children, it is multiple personalities. It and this here storybook that, oh, you're gonna have all these kids and you're gonna raise them good to the best of your ability, and they're all just gonna love you so perfectly. That shit is not realistic. It's not, because they're all different personalities. And I will tell you, as a mother, honestly, you're just one person, and it's whoever needs you the most at that time. That's just it.
Yeah.
Whoever needed me the most at this particular time, that's who I was trying to wrap myself in. Um, and that's just how it goes. You're not, I see on YouTube they blame mama for everything. And it's
Yeah.
really weird that when my husband said, no, your mama didn't give that girl that number, I gave it to your sister. And my son just goes, oh, and I'm like, what? This is like the
But you
fourth or
know
fifth
what?
time.
You know your son know he better not get buck with your with your husband.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna be honest with you. They play with me. They know not to play with him.
Mhm.
They know not to
We
play
know
with.
better.
They're not gonna play with it. He ain't gonna play with his head. But this is still the thing. Like, I still feel like on YouTube, I listen to all these women, y'all. I kind of want to cry a lot because I feel like it sometimes is never as good as you try. It's like Cynthia G was like, I'm all for. Listen, I had got to the point where I was like listening to the manosphere, saying that can't no women, even if they got a man, can't raise a man, and this, that. I'm like, so maybe if you drop the kid off at a fire station and he grew up that way, maybe he'll love his mom then. Because this is crazy. You do the best you can, and you still shit.
Mhm.
Let me tell you something. It's nothing nobody could tell me about my son. That oldest, the 28, he's not my oldest. He's the 28. Nothing nobody can tell me about him wouldn't make me go to hell and back for him. Right now, as we living. And I could talk all the shit I want to talk. But if he needed me right now, I would be there instantly,
Yeah.
as quick as I could get there. It just breaks my heart that he feel that he gotta throw stones at me or some shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just that shit crazy. And he done did it 4 or 5 times, like little slick stuff. Yeah, cause mama, you was wrong. And I just be like, why you say that? And he'll go into detail, and I'm like, I didn't do that, but he will insist that I did it until somebody else step forward and say they did it. And then when they
Mhm.
say they did it, he's like, oh. like like never an apology to me. I
Mm,
don't know if it's because he feel like I was only there for his brother. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I
yeah.
don't really understand it. Maybe he feel like I was only really there for his brother, his younger brother. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know? I don't
yeah.
know.
I think that's what it is. I really feel like that's what it is. I feel like he feels like you were there for his younger brother and he's built a resentment there for you.
And but the thing was him and his sister, they always did so well in school. They
Mm-hmm.
did well in life. I didn't have to be there 100. I'm not gonna say I didn't have to, and because I should have been. But your brother was cutting up so bad. I needed to be there to make him not go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a choice. It wasn't like I'm gonna put you two on the back burner because y'all A students, and I'm gonna mess. You know what I'm saying? It was never in my mind like, oh, I'm just gonna forget about y'all. It's
Yeah.
no who need me the most. That's who I'm trying to show. I don't know. What you think?
I
uh,
agree. That's how it is, but like as when you're a kid, you're not thinking like that. You're thinking, oh, mommy's giving this sibling all the attention, so she must like him more. So I'm mad at mommy. And then you hold it in all these years, and then you're an adult, and you still got this resentment towards mom.
yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I feel like that's what's going on. But I feel like, I mean, as adults, like, come on, like, you're an adult now, and you got to give your mother grace because you got to think about, especially that son, because he has children of his own, and he would want his children to give him grace. So you got to give your mom grace and just realize it. She really was trying to do the best she could at the time by all of her kids, and she really did not want to see your brother go down the wrong path. So give her that grace, you know?
Yeah, that's what I told him. I said, you have your own sons. And then he corrects me and he's like, son. And I'm like, no, you have two. Because that other one counts just as much, you
Hmm.
know. But I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know if it's because the other baby is in the picture and he's trying to save his marriage. And then maybe he don't want us to be around the other baby, but I don't know. It's
I
really
mean, but that
confusing.
other baby is still family. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, you did it.
Exactly, and that's how I look at it. I look at it like just an extra, another ground one. You know, I don't look at it like a problem. Like you look at it as a problem. I don't look at it. I don't feel like he's a problem. You feel like he's a problem,
Mhm.
and me and your sister feel like we want to know him completely. You know, so that is causing a problem.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to stop that, but I do know that me being in his life, I w- me being his grandmother is very important to me because I don't know how long I'm gonna have, and you got the best of me. You know who I am. You know I love you with unconditionally, and I just need him to grow up and know me for as long as God permit me to be on this earth to know that I love him unconditionally. And he's only one. So give me the opportunity to do that and stop, acting like I have to make choices and shit. I don't want to make any of those choices.
Yeah,
I
I
don't I
agree.
don't want to make a choice between you, your wife. That's you and your life. I'm supportive of it. I think y'all a beautiful couple. Y'all a beautiful family. But I also think the other one is beautiful too. I think all of them, everybody beautiful. I don't want to have to choose anything. And if I have to choose, I don't know maybe I can't choose anybody. And that's the point I'm at right now today. Like if I really thought I had to choose, I don't think I would be able to choose any of them because it's not one that I care about more. It's not that I care about my grandkids more than my sons. My son. You get what I'm saying? It's not that I care about my son more than I care about my grandson. I don't care about
Mm,
I care about all of them the same. I love them all the same.
I understand.
And that's
Yeah,
where I'm at.
hold on, Lima. Hold on. I kinda got like a little emergency. I gotta jump off right quick.
Yeah, go ahead, honey. Go ahead.
Alright.
Because this was impromptu, and like I said, I was venting, but I just feel like, you know what? Sometimes we share shit. Go ahead, Tequila. I love you. I
I
love you,
love you
Mister.
more. Alright, bye bye.
Okay. No, but I'm just saying this here for other mothers who have kids who've been through different situations and they feel like, no one understands. What I'm saying is you just do the best you can do and you keep it pushing because no matter what decisions are made, you know you've made them for the to the best of your ability, right? And especially when you have multiple children, it's not that you love one more than the other, but it's who needs you at this moment in time the most. Trying to not lose a child or having a child that's sick can really cause family issues because the other kids will feel like you let them down, even if it's not intentional. In their mind, you weren't there. In their being, not just their mind. Truth be told, you weren't there enough. Not trying to detract and say they're making it up. In reality, you were not there enough for that child, right? Intentional or unintentional. But how much do you need to apologize for that shit? How much do you think you're gonna apologize? How many times can you take and say, I apologize if I wasn't there. I'm sorry. You know, how much? I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream because, like I said, this was impromptu, but somebody else wanted to come up and share their story. But man, I'm telling y'all now, it is hard raising children. It is impossible raising children who think they know more now than you. And no one is a perfect parent. That's all I can say. You're not a perfect parent, but you know what? You weren't a perfect child. And everyone deserves redemption. Point blank, period. Sitting up here saying somebody wasn't enough is just crazy.